It's your Wednesday night conversation. It's more than just the gossip. It's the issues that matter most to you. A closer look at special guests and more. Welcome to Let's Have a Fefe, Arizona's longest running drag live stream. Hosted by Felicia Fefe Minor and Freddy Prinze Charming. Streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Promotional consideration for Let's Have a Fefe provided by Wigs of a Kind, The Burly Barber, Bone and Basil, as well as our patrons at Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Let's Have a Fefe to become a Fefe patron. Virtual tips accepted at paypal.me/Let's Have a Fefe. Welcome to Let's Have a Fefe.
Hello, hello, hello.
Good evening.
Oh, hi, Francis. Francis must be outside of the group.
Probably, yeah.
Because
I'm watching it from our page, so.
So we figured out, or Freddie figured out that if you're in our Let's Have a Fefe group with the stars on it on Facebook, that sometimes the usernames don't show up unless they fix that this week. I don't know.
Who even knows anymore?
But welcome to Let's Have a Fefe. This is your Wednesday night conversation. This is season 9, episode 17. And why don't you just tell the people about how much longer are you going to be, Mr.
I have no idea. But as you can see, the lovely lady in pink is Felicia Fefe Minor. I am still Mr. US of A, my classic.
That's what I was getting at.
I don't know when I will be able to pass this title on.
I was telling him it's the blessing that became the curse.
It's something.
Well, over the weekend, we have a new Patreon supporter, and we want to welcome Sky as they have taken the deeper plunge. So now that leads us to having 17 patrons: Allison Best and Brandon, Cassandra 1S, Cassandra 2S's, Casey Starr, Carrie and Corey, Kim, Joan, Jody, Leanne, Nicole, Patricia Mason, Shelly, now Sky, and Sassy C. Diaz. Special
things in alphabetical order.
I did. After you said it, I was like, oh, what if I take it out of alphabetical order? I almost moved Sassy too because she's out of order. Special thanks to our friends and supporters, Cassandra, Patricia Mason, and now Sky, for taking the deeper plunge. This month, we are raising money for much needed upgrades to our equipment, because we be working for free and we don't upgrade this stuff. So
we've been using equipment that's
more than a decade old.
Yeah.
But over the weekend, we got donations from Sherry Lynn of JM Photography and Sue Fenton, who is a regular at our cat bingos when we used to do them back in the day.
You remember when we used to do them? You remember
a year ago. And we have to thank Jeremy Bright of Ripple Phoenix. You can donate at paypal.me/Let's Have a Fefe. So far, we have raised $285.
Hey, you know what? That's something for sure.
$285. And so I didn't create a caption thingy yet for that, but I'm trying out this little texting service. You know how they let you do a trial. Anyway, you can text LHAF. It's our show initials, if you haven't figured that out, to 602-730-7379 for updates for the show. And updates on what Freddie and I are doing, if that's your thing, because some people are logging off of Facebook. You know, that's their thing. So yeah, that's what you do this weekend.
So, I think everybody remembers last week. So the cats that were dumped on my patio, right? The saga continues, yes. So right now with me, I have the boy kitty, and he's doing fine. He's very well. He's good and recovered from being neutered. Now I'm just dealing with integrating everybody, which anybody that has cats knows that can be interesting. Like there's a lot of hissing and spitting and growling and tussles, and like they'll get really close and then they'll be like, "Oh wait, I'm supposed to not like you." So then it's
oh
like,
wow,
my God, get over yourselves. It's interesting because it's one of the biggest instigators is my little like ginger cat that first of all nobody ever sees, but she's like decided that she wants to be queen of the castle. So it's interesting.
Oh,
The female was pregnant. And so I think I told everybody last week that she went to a foster who, just because my biggest fear, honestly, was number one, not only do I not have the room to deal with like a whole bunch of kittens, but I was afraid that because she was so young, she's not even a year old, and because she was so young that once the kittens were born, she wouldn't know what to do, and I would end up bottle feeding. And Lord knows I do not have the time or anything like to bottle feed kittens if that's what it came down to. So she's been with a fantastic foster since last week. Her name is Lisa. She has fostered for La Gatara before. She's very, very knowledgeable. She's dealt with kittens, bottle babies, the whole 9 yards. Well, yesterday, I get because she's been sending me updates on how she's doing and everything. And yesterday I get a message at almost 11 o'clock at night, or is it 10 o'clock? Maybe 10 o'clock. That said that Mama Kitty had actually given birth way too early.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Lisa and her daughter had gone to PetSmart to go get some food and some supplies. They'd been gone less than 2 hours, and in those 2 hours, she'd given birth. There were 4 kittens, all preemies, and they were all basically all covered in kitty litter.
Oh, she had them in the cat box?
Yeah. Told you she didn't know what she was doing. And that was that was a massive fear of mine. They were all ice cold, but they managed to revive all 4 of them. As of like this morning, they're working on getting them to latch on, and so far so good. There's one kitten that may need to have a leg amputated. It looks like it might have been stuck. It's all purple. And then a couple hours, like in the middle of the night last night, I guess she had one more kitten who was stillborn. I know everything was perfect, but was just too late,
Yeah.
So now we're kind of just watching and making sure that kittens are latching on, are getting fed. And when it comes to bottle feeding preemies, it's a little bit different. You can't just give them kitty formula. Like there's more, they're more complicated. And since they're at least a week premature, that can create all sorts of interesting issues. So, yeah, but keep your fingers crossed.
Have you named the boy yet?
I'm flip-flopping back and forth. I can't decide on a name for him. I called him Jacob because when they were dumped, it was on the holiday season. So Jacob Marley, Christmas Carol, blah, blah, blah. I'm calling him Jake. But then I was like, well, if he's going to be here a while, I don't know if I want to name him something that goes along with the rest of my cats, because we've got London, we've got Paisley, which is a town in Scotland. So I'm back and forth between. I'm not keeping him. But I'm back and forth between
These are the days of our cat lives.
It just told me that our live broadcast has expired.
Where?
On the Facebook.
People are
That's
talking
really
to
weird.
us.
See. They are now. They were. I don't know if they still are. Let me find out if it's. That's really weird. I don't know why that. Okay, yeah, now we're working. That's really weird. It totally just told me that it expired. I had to go all the way back out and come back in. But now I'm debating between Jake and Wick, which is a town in Scotland as well. So,
oh my gosh.
Debating. So Lisa sent me pictures of all the babies when they were, when they were ever. And this morning she sent me one. And there is zero doubt who the daddy is because this kitten looks exactly like him. Just gray on the ears and all white. So,
wait, the brother or
not the? I don't think they're related at all.
Oh, okay.
At all. Yeah, these are the two cats that were dropped off. So yeah. Let's see. US of A Nationals for MI Classic and Diva was postponed again. I'm relieved because I know there was no way it was going to do anybody justice to be able to try and do it in March. No one's been able to do any rehearsals. Nobody's been able, people have had to dip into their savings.
Well, we would have had to rush to be ready.
Well, it wouldn't have I don't nobody would have been prepared. You know what I mean? Because rehearsals haven't happened in a year, and people I'm sure have gained weight. People have had to dip into their savings. People have had to, you know what I mean? So nothing would have been ready, and it would have been really just kind of shitty, and it would have done everybody a disservice to try and rush it. But I know that, everybody were just like, fuck, we just want to do it and do it already. But I know that it's definitely for the best. But other than that, I ain't done shit.
So I will tell you that on Thursday just hit me just hard. I think I hit a point of grievance. I hit a point of mourning. I was totally emotionally spent. Friday was better, but I was totally just grounded. I couldn't go. I was barely working at that point. I'm in the same sort of I'm just in a funk, and all the other shit work and stuff isn't helping. But you know what I mean? It's just yeah. Meanwhile, we had already talked about this, but the president fucked it up, so it fell into good timing. Release the first of a series of This Is America off of Logan Lowry Rasmussen's media company, and I shared it over was that Thursday or Friday? It was one of those days, but that couldn't have come. I wrote it way before this. I think I wrote it in the summer sometime during George Floyd. So the fact that it still was written months ago and still holds a solid key to what this country needs is so telling. I started to feel better. I laughed as Trump got eliminated from every social media platform on the planet. I got my nails done at Prisca's Nail and Spa.
Fuck Trump on them, so you can just.
Well, I work at a school, so I can't do that. If we were off for the summer, maybe. But it wouldn't be me if something didn't go wrong. So we got new phones. They were back ordered because I ordered them around Christmas, and they came in. So Scott was activating or doing whatever while I was at the nail salon. And then I had to help him when I got back. But so I got him all situated. Then I started to do mine, and I couldn't activate it. So I was like, okay, I'll just go to bed. it'll be fine because like sometimes you restart them in the morning and
right, and like it goes through an update or some shit, and it decides,
yeah.
yeah.
And so that didn't happen. And then I was on like the tech support for an hour, and then they told me to call this number, and then that number didn't work.
Of course
And
not.
so every time I asked the tech support, should I turn my phone on, like my old phone, they were like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, but so anyway, we ended up going to the Verizon store, and they were able to. The guy was great. He just was able to do it himself and activate my phone. But I was like, oh my God, can I get stuff that works? Can I?
See, folks, this is why we need to upgrade our equipment, because one by one, things are just going to start failing, and it's not going to be pretty. Like it's going to be bad. Like yeah.
Sorry, I switched over because I can't have the document split on the. It's weird. Anyway, please help us fundraise so I can get another computer and look at 2 different screens at the same time.
Right.
And I worked on some things and decorated for Valentine's Day. I think. No, I don't always do that. I think for me, I'm starting to become. Like when you do things to make yourself happy, like you just
an entire piece, like an entire cake with a spoon. Is that
what I do that too, but decorating to like boost the mood to celebrate something other than what's going on. And plus I have 2 adult kids and 1 little one. I need to kind of remain upbeat. A lot of articles came out this weekend about how this is all affecting children. So, yeah. Yes. Sorry, I wasn't seeing the comments. Thank you, Shannon. Yes, I'm talking about the blog I wrote. It's not on my website because I wrote it in collaboration with Logan. You should have called me. Oh, yes, I should have called you, but I was told by the tech support not to turn my old phone back on.
Oh my God.
So
yes, such a mess.
Yes, that was the things
So,
that happened this weekend.
Speaking of being told what and what not to do,
Mm.
You like that? You like that segue? You like that segue? So I thought of, it's been a while since we've actually really talked about anything of kind of an adult. Ow, Christ, I'm okay. We're fine.
It wasn't the cat this time.
Nope, that was all me. You're welcome. I'm fine. So it's been a while since we've talked about anything of really an adult nature on my tip. Like, we've talked about different life things and coping stuff and whatever, but we haven't really talked about anything of like a really adult nature in quite a while. So I figured, you know what? Tonight we're going to go ahead and talk about something of an adult nature.
Ooh.
So I know. So tonight we're going to talk about the basics of negotiating a scene. Now, in this context,
what's that?
Right? I'm sure a lot of people are like, "What the hell?" But this is good because people okay, in this context, a scene is basically kink play, BDSM, whatever you want to call it, between partners, whether it's a dom, sub, or master slave, or whatever kind of dynamic it is. It's that type of play that is going to be prearranged between 2 or more people. And what I think a lot of people, especially if they're just sort of getting into the kink scene and things like that, or they're kind of making that discovery, they don't think about the fact that scenes really do need to be negotiated beforehand. It's not something you just want to jump into, and there's a lot of reasons why. Especially if it's not a regular partner, like if it's not your nesting partner or someone that you regularly play with. If it's someone new, it's so that all parties understand the boundaries, the limits, and what's expected, basically.
Lines of communication.
Right. Absolutely. Especially if you're getting into some of the harder kind of impact and things like that. These things are very important to think about. So one of the things that needs to be talked about when you're negotiating a scene, and this may seem really obvious, but sometimes it's not, are the roles. Like, who's going to be topping, who's going to be bottoming, are you a switch, are they a switch? Because if everybody's a switch, if the parties involved are switches, you need to figure out who's going to be doing what during this specific scene, because if you both want to top, that's not going to work, so you have to
Been
figure
there
that out.
before.
So, if it's not immediately apparent, you need to figure out who's playing what role. Are there going to be other people there? Will they be participating, and in what context? Expectations and needs. So
it sounds like a big talk should happen before this happens.
Oh no, there are literally a lot of times there will be contracts written up.
What?
Depending on what the situation is. Otherwise, negotiations are done verbally, and all the parties are agreed to.
You said contracts are written up?
Absolutely. Depending on what the dynamic is, absolutely. There are contracts that are written up when it comes to scenes sometimes. So when it comes to expectations and needs, if you are the submissive, if you are the bottom, do you have favorite toys that you would prefer be used on you? Are there toys that are really going to get you into that headspace, that kind of thing? If you're topping, are there toys that you would really like to use? You need to make sure that those toys are okay with the person that is going to be bottoming for you, that is going to be the submissive in that scene. Do you want it to be more playful, or do you want it to be more serious? Some scenes are, they're definitely more playful. They're not all like, we're gonna do this. Like there's more laughing, there's more of a back and forth kind of thing. But that needs to be decided as well, because if one person is in a headspace where this needs to be very focused and serious, and the other person isn't, then the whole scene just goes to shit.
I just have to say that Cassandra said that she loves a good contract.
I'm saying. And when it comes to expectation and needs, another thing to think about is somebody a brat? Because if you're a brat. So that's a submissive that kind of pushes back a little bit. They're brats. That's what they're literally called.
But they're not dominant.
No, you can be a dominant brat, but they're kind of annoying. Most brats are submissive. Most. But sometimes it takes a good dominant brat to know how to tame a brat. Just saying. A lot of dominants have bratty tendencies, but if you're a submissive and you're a brat, then the brats don't exist. Okay. Lies. Then the limits within that need to be talked about, because there are some brats that really push it, but then as they're pushing it, they kill the scene. So
it kills the vibe.
It kills it. So it's like, okay, you're just gonna be bratty for the sake of being bratty. Like it stops being fun, and now you're just annoying. So those limits need to be talked about beforehand. Like, you're a brat, okay, that's fine. You can push back to an extent, but then after that, we're done.
Is it like to make this relative to something I know, but is it like when power tops are with power bottoms and they're trying to, it becomes too much?
Kind of, because the term power top and power bottom, and this is something too that people in the kink scene need to kind of unlearn, because a lot of times in their mind, top and bottom really refers to things like energy play, and they don't equate it to sex at all.
Oh.
But whereas in a lot of times the LGBTQ community outside of kink, top and bottom refer to giver and receiver in terms of penetrative sex. But yes, when you have you have a power top that's trying to control the whole thing, then you have a power bottom that's also trying to control it from the bottom. It becomes a lot of headbutting, and then it's like, you know what, I'm over it.
So that's kind of like the brat thing. That's
right.
What I could picture it
Brats
being like a whole
like brats can get mouthy. You know, they you know, if you're just an example, like you're well, being a
unless
brat,
being a
yes,
brat is in the contract.
That's the thing. Brats are going to be brats, but you have to figure out where that limit is. Because if you tell a brat not to be a brat, that's just stupid, because then that's just going to be dumb. But there has to be that limit. And I guarantee you everybody has that limit. The brats are like, it gets to a point where you're like, you know what? You're just, now you're really fucking annoying, and it's like you've killed the vibe completely. So that definitely needs to be talked about.
I think this is the first time I've heard of brats.
You trust me, you'll recognize, you'll start to as you kind of go out a little bit more now, once things go back to normal.
You mean there's people outside?
I know. Right. D says some dominants won't play with brats, but some make it very fun depending on the dynamic. Because they don't like it when their submissives talk back, or, you know, they've got that little, it's, yeah. Zero limits. There's no such thing as zero limits. Anybody that claims to have zero limits, not a thing, and they should be red flagged and not played with.
What does that mean?
So I'm actually going to get into limits right now. So limits absolutely have to be talked about. Limits can be anything from hard limits, you know, you cannot do this, period. Physical limits, pain thresholds. If you're the bottom, there are, you know, if there are places on the body which either have an injury or something there that can't receive any impact, types of impact that are off limits. Do you need an actual physical connection? Because when it comes to scenes, sometimes people forget that there needs to be some sort of aftercare, some sort of something. So that needs to be talked about as well. Health limits, whether a person is able to stand for the entire scene. Do they need a break? Is there issues with range of motion? That could be for the top or the bottom. You know, do you, goodness knows, I've thrown my shoulder out. If sexual contact is on the table, what are your limits when it comes to that? Do you have to see testing? Do you have to know?
Wait, did you say C testing?
Do you have to see testing, physical testing results, physical results? Do you have to see the results? You know, do you, when it comes to STIs, you have to know what the deal is there. Condoms, gloves, all these things all need to be talked about. Is the sub on any kind of meds that could result in excessive bleeding or dizziness? Because that is something that needs to be discussed and talked about as well. And when it comes to, so you have people a lot of times when talking about any sort of kink play, any kind of like BDSM, any kind of that, you'll have people that'll be like, oh, I'm good with anything. Are you? So if I take this cattle prod right here and shove it up your ass, you're okay with that? They're like, oh, well, no. Then don't say that you are good with anything, because you're not. There's no such thing as no limits. There's no such thing as I'm good with anything and everything, because I guarantee you there's some things that you are not okay with, regardless of where you are, whether you are topping or bottoming.
So if you're new to it, what do you say?
That's something that you absolutely need to say. If you are new to it and you're, you know, just in general, you can say, I am new to this. There are some things that I would like to explore. These are the things that I would like to explore. Beyond that, I'm not okay. So, you know, you can say, I'm good with light bondage. So, you know, maybe some basic rope restraints, or maybe some basic handcuffs or some pact, which could be light flogging, light paddling, nothing too excessive, nothing too much. But these are things that absolutely you need to, you know, say these things. D says, I always ask them if I can bring out the chainsaw when they say they're good with anything. And that's exactly it. You have
that would scare me.
And that's it. So you're good with anything, right? You know? And there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying you don't know your limits yet. You can put that into the negotiations, and that's where that comes in later as well. So another thing you want to talk about
is there like samplers or something, or
you absolutely kind of, yes, actually. So this is where you talk about the types of play. So you want to be clear on what you'd like to see happen. And that could be, anything from, different types of bondage, whether it's, rope, whether it's chains, whether it's leather, whether it's cuffs. What kind of bondage are you okay with? What kind of bondage do you want to explore if you're new to it? Do you want sensory deprivation? Do you want blindfolds? Do you want a full-on hood or a mask? Spanking. What kind of spanking are you looking for? Are you looking for spanking with a hand? Are you looking for paddling? Are you, what are you okay with? Are you okay with degradation? Do you want someone to call you names, or is that a hard limit for you? Are you not okay with someone calling you names and telling you you're a whore and a slut and whatever? Because some people are not okay with that, even if they're okay with the rest of it. Flogging, hardcore sadism. There are some hardcore sadists out there that they really want to hurt you, but they also want, like, there are also hardcore masochists out there that are okay with being that hurt. Like, they don't mind really breaking the skin. They don't mind a lot of the hardcore stuff. But again, if you have a hard sadist with someone who's really just kind of into like the lighter stuff, that could be an issue if not talked about. Are you engaging in puppy play? Anything like that. And that, even in the types of play, you can talk about what you're wearing. Are you dressed? Are you undressed? Are you in leather? Are you in lingerie? What is going to go on, with this whole thing?
That is so but I was just about to ask something about that. For people that have had traumatic experiences, let's read Suzette's. I don't know if it'll fit.
Suzette says, for example, I won't do breath play on someone because I've had a traumatic experience as an asthmatic, and it freaks me out to see someone else not breathing. So breath play is a hard limit for me. I did try doing it to someone, which is how I found out it freaks me the fuck out. Which absolutely. And sometimes you know what those hard limits are going into it. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you won't find out until you try it, and then you're like, whoa, no, absolutely not. But when you know that that's a hard limit, that's a boundary that you need to stick to.
I think I have stayed away from some kink things because of childhood trauma. Like, I don't like the name calling. I can deal with name calling on a daily basis because we're built with that armor. But when it comes to that, I think there's a vulnerability.
And for me, even as a top, even as a dominant, I'm not a fan of degradation. Like, it's not my thing. Like, I will happily beat the shit out of you, but I'm really not into the degradation.
Yeah.
Like,
so that, I think that's one of the things I have. It is normal. But there's some things that I'm like, that looks like it's fun, but probably not for me. Because, and I know a lot of people, especially, I'm not as prudish as I used to be, but I still have my mental hiccups that are kind of like, girl, are you sure?
They're totally legit. They're totally valid. So another thing you want to talk about too is the duration of the scene, especially if you happen to be at a party. Because if you're at a party and there's lots of things going on, you don't always want to take up the whole space. You don't want to take up the whole time. Sometimes there are time limits, so you want to talk about that as well. Basic safety measures. So things like safe words, safety shears. These are things that, like, a lot of people carry around a bag when they go to parties or when they do these things. So things to carry in your bag for like a just in case sort of situation. So you want to make sure that you have safe words in place, safety shears for cutting restraints and rope, a first aid kit, have an emergency contacts list, fast dissolving glucose for anybody that may have low blood sugar issues, medical grade cleaning supplies, And another thing to have on hand, especially at a party, is a dungeon monitor. If you do not have a dungeon monitor at your play party, you need to get one or more.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Because a dungeon monitor is going to be the person that's going to keep an eye on things, make sure nobody is overstepping things, make sure that safe words are being used, all of that. Another big thing that needs to be negotiated is sexual contact. This needs to be negotiated before the scene, not during, because not every scene has sexual contact. So these are things like when it comes to kinky, it doesn't always have to end in fucking. It doesn't have to end in genitals being touched or done anything with at all, ever. And so things you need to talk about, is contact with genitals okay during impact or bondage? You need to be very specific on this. Do you want to have clothespins on your junk? Yes.
No.
Do you want to be flogged in your nether regions? Do you want to have, these are things that you need to be very specific, because if you aren't, like, it's very easy to violate consent if things are not very clear when it comes to that sort of thing. And of course, safe words. Safe words are absolutely key. One of the big things when it comes to safe words is you don't want to. It doesn't have to be something complicated. It needs to be something very easy. Because a lot of times, both regardless of whether you are topping or bottoming, sometimes you get into this headspace and it makes it very hard to communicate in like full sentences to be able to say, hey, stop doing that. You know what I mean? So
what's to say? I've had subs that never had sexual contact.
Right. Exactly. And it's not, a lot of times it's not about the sexual contact. So when it comes to safe words, even something as simple as like yellow to indicate that things are being pushed a little bit and be cautious, and red to indicate a hard stop. Very easy. And those are things that you can remember. If you are in a scene with somebody and your play partner says yellow, then it's like, okay, maybe I need to ease up. Maybe I need to either not hit so hard. Maybe I need to be mindful of boundaries. And if they say red, you stop. That's it. That you're done. You're done. That's a hard stop.
None of this like, come on.
Right. No. Hard stop. If at a party or in a dungeon or anything like that, you need to let the dungeon monitor know what your safe words are ahead of time, so that if they are monitoring, if they're monitoring your scene, they can pay attention to see if safe words are being used. And no, dear God, stop is not a safe word. Absolutely not. It's not a safe word unless that's what that's predetermined. Because
that would be during the contract. You would say that's what your safe word
because
is.
No, saying dear God stop is not a hard, like, no, you have to.
But there are people that will use the terms like dear God stop, but mean it play.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't just be like that. No, that is not a good indicator. Safe words 100% need to be negotiated and need to be decided upon beforehand, period. D says check-ins are important as well. Absolutely. Throughout the scene. And checking in is important because you may not, depending on what the scene is and where you are with your partner, you may not be able to see what's going on.
Especially if they're hooded or masked.
Right. You may not be able to see, you may not necessarily be able to hear what's happening. So check-ins are absolutely key. And if there's at any time your partner, it gives you any indication that they're done,
absolutely.
You're done. There is no question. There is nothing. You're done. Done. That's another big thing, is that there's no like, okay, well, let me just do this. No.
Mm-hmm.
You're done.
Or I wanted to try.
No. If your partner, regardless of what side they're on, you're done. If they indicate that they're done, they're done. That's right. And that's the other reason for the monitoring. Absolutely. Because you can't always see everything. You can't, if you have a sub that is, face down on a spanking table or is on a cross or something, and you can't see their face, but the dungeon monitor, we're not playing D&D, but the dungeon monitor can, if they make eye contact with the dungeon monitor can be like, wait, and then find out, and so
I like this point that Cassandra says, sometimes I say, dear God, don't stop, and if I miss the don't because I'm out of breath,
right,
I'm gonna be mad because they messed up my vibe. You are
saying dear God stop is not right. Yeah, right. So for folks that are working on getting into any sort of the kink lifestyle or anything like that, these are just some things to think about and to remember. If you decide when things are back to normal, if you go to a play party, or if you start kind of dipping into that sort of thing, is you need to make sure that these things are definitely talked about. Yeah, and Dee says another important part of negotiating is asking about reactions of submissives or bottoms. Some cry, some giggle, some yell, and it, because any of those things happen, it doesn't mean that things are going badly. It's just what happens. So these are just some basic things to think about when you're negotiating the scene. If you're just starting to get into the
You found a sub that's into D&D?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. That
sounds like
there are, oh my God, Suzette, there are so many subs out there and out into D&D. Jesus Christ. I think most people that are into if you're not a dungeon master, you're probably a sub. I'm just saying there are so many people that I know that are into kink and are subby and are into D&D. I think that's almost a prerequisite.
Oh, she's saying she needs to find
saying it's
a sub that's into D&D.
So there you go. Actually, like talking about some adult stuff in my tips.
See, I learned stuff too, guys.
All right, should we take a closer look at current events?
Oh my gosh. Ugh, are we ready? This is heavy. So we are 1 week away from inauguration.
Fuck up.
Oh my God. Can it hurry? But before we get there, can I just say it was like reality TV on steroids, because this weekend I watched so many videos of people being taken away because they were on the no-fly list. Because why? They destroyed our Capitol. And oh my gosh, some of the ladies throwing themselves on the floor and saying, this is so wrong. I don't know why you treat me like this.
You see the video of the one guy that's like, you're treating me like a fucking black guy.
Yeah, I did see that. I was like,
hello.
But oh my gosh, if you have not seen these videos, go on YouTube. There's some of them, like people put the collection together and did all the hard work for you and put it all together. So you just watch them for like 2-3 hours because there's a lot of them. What's fun is that what's D&D? Who asked that? Eddie Omega, you don't know what D&D is? Dungeons and Dragons? I'm gonna have to come get you from up there. But the FBI is working its tail off to get all these people, and it's funny how like people are like circling faces and being like, I know that guy.
I fucking love it. I fucking love it. Out the racists. Out them all.
Oh my gosh.
So the twat waffle who decided to dress like a quote unquote shaman and stormed into the Capitol was getting tummy aches because the food in jail was not organic. And so here's the thing. If you have a legitimate need, if you have celiac disease, if you have peanut allergies, if you something that is legitimate, like an actual dietary need, then I absolutely believe that you should have that taken care of while you are in jail. Like whatever it is. gluten-free, if you need, that makes sense. But your fucking pretentious, privileged ass needs to have organic food because your tummy gets upset. Bitch, please. I'm sorry, but no.
But why did the judge approve it?
Because he's white.
Y'all, if I ever get arrested, I need somebody to come and rescue me.
You know damn well that if you were like, excuse me, I need all organic food because my belly, I'm really sensitive. And I'm like, they'd be like, bitch, please.
They'd be like, bitch, get in there.
His white privileged ass. Yeah, no. And his mommy was very concerned for him.
Traders shouldn't get organic food. You're right. You are so right. Mm-hmm. But he did. I don't know what the fuck is going on. What else we got here? Also, while all this is happening, so people are like circling faces and being like, I know this person, this is that person. We had Olympic gold medal swimmer. I don't know how to say his name. He was, what is it? Cleat?
Cleat? Like a soccer cleat? I don't know.
He's a pain in somebody's ass. Anyway, he's being charged with being in connection with the riots, and they have his picture with him being circled, and you can see his face clearly, which is hilarious. These people pose with these reporters and the photographers.
Did you see the video of the one chick that was like, oh my God, they maced me. And the dude's like, oh, that's too bad. What's your name? Where are you from? And she's like, my name is Elizabeth and I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. You're so stupid.
But
they're fucking stupid.
So they think that she was lying about the crying part because there's an onion in her towel. Did you see that? If I find the video for that, there is
regardless, she's an idiot because she's like, I got inside the Capitol, but then they pushed me out. Okay, wow, dumbass, fucking stupid.
Your time in court. You're welcome. I can't believe these people. I cannot believe these people.
And now all of a sudden Republicans are worried about being divisive. Like, this is a time we need to unify and not be divisive. Bitch, we've been this is your fucking
what have we been doing all summer?
Been divisive for 4 fucking years. You weren't worried about it then. Why are you worried about it now? Shut up and sit down.
So on the way here, I heard something on the radio that I did not add onto the show sheet that I need some verification on. So if I know y'all are investigative, I know Suzette's investigative. So they believe that one of the people with Operation Steal, like don't steal the votes kind of steal, toured the Capitol building with a congressperson.
That wouldn't surprise me.
And if it's an inside deal, this could get just so.
Well, think about it. There are videos of cops literally waving people in, then taking selfies with them as they open the door to let them in. They're all complicit.
Yes. And then you have the black cop that was like, "Don't let them in," and then he's like running for his life as he's like telling them to get back.
He actually did that on purpose. He antagonized them so that their focus would go to him and distract from what they were doing.
Correct. But why was one man doing what like 4 or 5 people that let
the rest of the cops were letting everybody in. That's why. Yeah.
Okay, so there is going to be an investigation on if it was an inside job, if the person that was in charge of Operation Steal, who was also part of constructing this whole ordeal of going to the Capitol, if that was like if they were showing him around, this is it will go opposite of what they wanted. Yeah, totally opposite of what they wanted. Yes, a lot of people are getting fired too. Speaking of Republicans are also protesting the new metal detectors that were put in the Capitol right after the riots. Okay, so you're the party that started this mess,
Right.
created this mess. You don't want to be treated like the oppressed, but you're willing to oppress.
Of course they are. They don't give a fuck. Now
But you,
their civil liberties are being infringed on.
oh my
First they're made
God.
to wear masks. Now they have to walk through fucking, metal detectors. Poor babies.
That's another thing.
In the history books today, Agent Orange is now the first president to be impeached by the House twice. It's going to go to the Senate, and it'll probably not go anywhere, which is unfortunate because it needs to go to a vote, and they need to make sure he's stripped of everything.
I have a question. I need somebody to answer this for me. Can the citizens of a country sue their president?
I don't know about that. There is some. He could be hit with an civil suits. I believe. For like with the
I want to sue him for
bill.
being black in America the last 4 years.
Right. Like, I think that there can be civil suits from like the people that were either injured or the families of the people that died. I think that there's a possibility that he could get civil suits from that. So that could be interesting.
Mhm.
The
That could be
impeachment trial is going to take place next week, the day before inauguration. We'll see what happens. I'm not overly optimistic.
So Mitch McConnell says that he is for this impeachment, but I don't believe him.
I don't believe him either. I don't think he'll do anything. It's too little, too late. He's already proven he's an asshat.
Yeah, he's not. And along with this history lesson, he is the first president to be blocked on all social media. He is even blocked on his historical place on social media, Twitter, and now everything that he says has to be pre-recorded and put on the White House social media. It has gotten so bad, this is really bad, that Grindr came out and said he wasn't allowed to be on their platform.
Oh, that's funny.
How horrible do you have to be that Grindr came out before you even applied and said, please don't come back. Don't come here. Don't look here. Go away. That's awful. Are you going to read that one?
So fucking Melania, because let's be best, y'all. Be best. She was like, well, I was at a photo shoot during the Capitol and everyone overreacted, and oh my God, I'm the victim.
That shit made me laugh.
I cannot with this woman. I cannot.
She is the dumbest first lady I've ever met.
She's fucking. I don't know. I can't. I just can't. I can't. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Let's see what else. New York City is cutting all ties with Donald Trump and Trump companies.
Yep.
Which, if you look it up, it's more than the hotels, y'all.
Oh, there's a carousel. There's an ice skating rink. There's all sorts of stuff. There's all sorts of stuff. The city is canceling all of his contracts. It's phenomenal. It's great.
And the PGA is backing out of all contracts that were leading up to like years and years, because they plan this stuff way out in advance. For all his golf courses and resorts, they said, that's not cute. Nope. So all his golf courses, all his hotels are losing. And I imagine that the only thing that will keep them alive is the supporters that raided the cat. Oh wait, they'll be in jail.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be rough right there.
Oh, I meant to mention that. So Trump in the summer, remember when Black people were being thugs and violent and
The shooting starts, that whole thing.
Yeah. And so lock up the thugs, remember that. He signed an executive order that if you ruin government entities like a building or anything, that you should get 10 years or more in prison. So I just want to say that we out here, we out here, you in there. That's all I can say.
That can solve a lot of problems, because you can't vote when you're in prison, right? So,
and
if, like,
I believe Trump is the one that is enforcing that if you are like a convicted felon, you can't vote.
Right. So, yeah.
I mean, good
of
job.
all these people that have been jailed, it'd be great. There's like half of his voting people. I'm fine with that. And Trump supporters were claiming that the Capitol riots were similar to the BLM protests. No, they weren't. They're really butthurt about social media. They're leaving social media as Parler gets pulled off of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, all these things. They're like, they're done. They're getting like, they're tired of being censored, and like they're tired of being oppressed.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm trying not to laugh. So you remember when in June we just did this. We just did this. Remember, we were like, we're gonna do a blackout. And everybody was like, you guys are overreacting. It's not that bad. And I'm like, fuck you. Now, since Facebook and all these places have shut Trump out, and since you're not allowed to spew the hate, which is
freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. Just gonna throw that
absolutely. People are putting up videos. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos. Professionally, I've been connected to some of these people, and I'm glad that I can let go of them because I don't need them. But videos of over and over, I keep hearing the censorship, the oppression from these big tech companies. Okay, first and foremost, you can say what you want, but you need to be a decent human being. Second, you are not oppressed. You get off the computer, you can walk outside.
Unless they're trying to fly. Then they're being so oppressed. Much oppression.
And lastly, and I'll say this as a social media professional, each platform has a list of terms of service.
Yep.
In that term of service, it says things like you cannot list pornography, you cannot list hateful things, you cannot be bigoted. Basically, you are playing by our rules because you are on our platform.
Yep.
Parler had no censorship, including if a young girl was on there, she could be human trafficked with no censorship. Censorship to a point allows protections for other people. Now that they have lost their freedoms, or Trump has lost his freedoms, and now people are like, oh my God, I cannot be on Twitter. Oh my God, I can't be on Facebook. Oh my God, I can't be on Instagram. Yes, you can. You just can't be spewing the nastiness that has gotten us into such trouble.
But it works because now they're all on Parler, but then there was a massive data breach on Parler, and now everybody knows who was on Parler and what they were saying because they had to verify that they were a citizen by uploading their driver's license.
And so I knew Parler was not a thing because, in the social media world, a new app comes out and immediately you want to jump on. I could tell by who was endorsing it that I was like, no, this is like, that's not my territory. That I could see who was getting on it. Does that make sense?
Right.
I saw all the white people getting on, and I was like, where are black people on here? Nope. This ain't for me. So my newsfeed may just get cleaner all by itself. What's Parler? It was a.
Where have you been? I do not see anything, no news, no nothing.
Some people have been off of it. Some people have totally been off of it.
How is that rock for you? Is that comfy?
But Parler was this social media app that was developed by stupid people that would allow people to say their First Amendment right without censorship, because that was the biggest claim, that during the Trump administration that people were put in Facebook jail because of, the hateful things that they were saying, or the misinformation. The misinformation is the biggest one, and that's the one that Facebook got sent to those hearings for. Because they gave away information, because they let elected officials run certain campaigns. So they had to buckle it down. That's why a lot of people get angry about the nipple. It's not because of you, it's because of the terms of service and all the things that Congress keeps saying. Oh, well, your platform does this, it causes danger to this, it causes danger to this. So these people created Parler, which was basically, I want to call it like the grassroots redneck.
It's the racist answer to Facebook, like legitimately, like it's full of basically right-wing.
And I saw some screenshots off of there, and I just thought, oh, yeah. Yep. See, read an article about the hacker. She got all the driver's license.
No, she got all the public posts, but not the driver's licenses.
But she should go ahead and sell those public posts, because I'm sure there'll be some happy people out there.
Biden is working on a new COVID stimulus plan, and hopefully he gets bipartisan support for that, because that would be really cool, considering especially there's shit here still.
And people are starting to get evicted, I think.
Yeah. See, LGBTQ news. Did y'all hear about the lesbian who ID'd her mom, aunt, and uncle, who were all at the Capitol?
Yes, her tweet read, "Mom, is that you?" And she circled her mom.
Yep.
I was like, oh. I followed her immediately. I was like, ooh, I got to see this.
And then I guess when everybody got home, they're like, you need to remove the tweets. And she's like, no, fuck you. I'm keeping them up.
And then she was like, well, for those that don't believe I'm her daughter, she showed family photos of her with her mom growing up.
Yep. Fucking fantastic. Her mom, her aunt, and her uncle all called out.
That, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to act a fool, do it the right way. God bless. On her way out, Betsy the devil is acting on attacking trans children and saying that all queer children should not be protected.
Thank God she resigned. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord.
But she made that speech shortly before she resigned. And I just want to say, whoever hires her next, you stupid.
Oh, she's fucked her career. She totally has.
She did nothing for us at all in the education world. Nothing. And her mom told her not. Oh yeah, that's right. So back to the lesbian that told on her mom and her uncle and her aunt. Her mom earlier in the year told her not to go to the Black Lives Matter protest. That word is so ambiguous right now, because her mom said the protests could get violent. Yet her mom is the one that's circled with a bloody nose.
Right. Fucking idiot. Fucking stupid.
So they also threw her out. They threw her out?
Oh, yeah. She's been kicked out numerous times. That's why she ratted on him. She was like, fuck you.
Oh,
yeah.
If she needs a place to stay, we find her a place.
It looks like Mike Pence's home state of Indiana is looking to be the next state to ban conversion therapy.
Oh, we still doing that?
Yep. Apparently, we're still doing that. I don't know why it hasn't been banned federally, but whatever.
I also want you all to know that if Mike Pence takes any other form of office, that we should really rally against that, because he is for conversion therapy and doesn't like LGBTQ plus people.
He's bad people. He's definitely bad.
Let's see. one experiment that I can get behind is that a case of wine is heading back to Earth from space. It's a case of French wine. And it is set to return from the space station after spending 12 months in space. I just want to let NASA know that if you need testers to test your wine that has been in space, I'm right here. I'm available. I mean, I can drink the whole case if that's part of the study. I'm here. I'm really here for you. Really here.
Yeah.
You're not here for that? I read that.
All right.
Oh, are we going to get into your favorite part?
So, yeah. So, all right. In COVID news, Arizona's still winning. Go us. So apparently there's also there's a store in Cave Creek called T-Slanger that has a strict no mask policy. The owner will actually throw you out if you wear a mask. Unsurprisingly, they sell lots of MAGA shit, and there's a figure of Biden out front that you can punch if you want to. He actually pulled a gun on a customer that came in with a mask on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So that's fun. Yay, Arizona.
What's this place called?
It's called T-Slanger. It's in Cave Creek.
Oh, that's not my neighborhood. That's on the clear side of the other side. I can't go that far. That's far. He can stay over there. What else? Oh, look at this. Oh, Doug Ducey, the douche himself, says that schools that don't have kids in classrooms won't get funding. He said kids need to be learning. Now, where have we heard this before?
I think he's a fucking idiot. How are you going to say they're not learning? I know how, like, kids are learning virtually. Fucking dumbass. Like, oh my God, he's the fucking devil. I cannot wait. What can we do to get him the fuck out? He needs to leave. Like, he needs to get the fuck out.
There is a petition to get him out.
Also, we're 49th in education. So
yeah,
now it's late for him to be worried about that.
But it's not only happening here. There are some schools that are blocking teachers from virtual classrooms for not cooperating, and threatening to dock their pay. In places like Chicago, there was another place, but I don't remember right now. But wow, you guys, we really need to reevaluate the system again, because like teachers don't make that much, but they're risking their whole life. Teachers take on more than they take on the emotional stress of your child, but they have 27 different versions of your child.
People aren't concerned about education. They're more concerned about the fact that, it's free babysitting, essentially. That's how they look at teachers, is free babysitting. They don't give a fuck about anything else. They don't care about the teachers. They don't care about their safety. They don't care about their health. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And so this rushing into the classroom and the fight against Kathy Hoffman, that's her name, right? Hoffman. But the state superintendent. It's just very, like she said, I'm not ready for people to get, back into the classroom. He didn't listen to her. He just said, I'm just doing whatever, and, just moved on about his business.
He doesn't give two fucks about anyone ever. Like, just doesn't. Like, no.
Yes. And Kathy Hoffman is just a wonderful person that is trying to think of all the things. But along with that, this is the first week that educators and school staff could sign up for the vaccination here in Arizona. What happened?
Sorry, new cat is.
Oh, I lost my spot.
Sorry. Stepped on the thing, and whoop, where are you going, bud? Okay.
So even I tried to sign up, and the site kept knocking people off or saying there's no dates available. So
my partner managed to get in nice and early. I believe I think tomorrow morning she's
Oh
getting in.
wow.
Yeah, I'm really excited for
her. Everybody wants to see the new kitty.
That's the new kitty. What? He's very talkative. He's sitting over here now. But yeah,
Is London mad that he took his spot?
I'm sure that London is sulking somewhere. He's fine. He'll get over it. It's anybody who has dealt with multiple cats knows that when you're introducing cats, it can be a minute and there's a lot of like stupid shit, and then they get over it and then they're fine. So
yeah.
Let's see. So recent reports, we've got different hotbeds around the country besides Arizona, because we're still a fucking hotbed. Marion County, Indiana, and the state of Wisconsin are reporting a more contagious strain because things mutate. Thank you. Things are mutating, more contagious strain. So yeah. Good times, super good times.
Yeah, as that new strand comes out, I just can't wait. And meanwhile, cases keep going up, and Waste Management is going to have the open here in Arizona and limit fans to 5,000 because
limit fans to 5,000.
That seems like a great idea. So how do you social distance 5,000 people?
It's fine. How much you want to bet? It's outside. We don't have to wear masks.
I bet you. Is it on Doug Ducey's golf course?
Probably. That wouldn't surprise me.
I wouldn't want to disturb that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. How dare I?
All right. So numbers, y'all. If you haven't been paying attention, again, let's give you guys a little bit of context, because we do this every once in a while because it's kind of fun to see where we're at. So April 4th of last year is when we hit 2,000 cases. So we're less than a year, right? So we hit 2,000 cases and 50 deaths on April 4th. June 21st is when we first passed 50,000 cases. So June, we had 50,000 cases. June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. So about 7 months, a little less than 7 months. As of today, we have 641,729 cases in Arizona, 10,673 deaths. We currently have a 21 positivity rate with 5,629 new cases reported today and 191 new deaths. Go us.
We're still number one.
We are up. That's almost 80,000 from last week. Last week we had 574,680 cases with 9,444 deaths.
And this is the first time nationwide that we have beaten the daily average.
Yep.
The daily average keeps going up nationwide.
Yep. But it's cool because it's a hoax and it's really just the flu and everybody's fine.
Yeah.
At least that's what they keep telling us.
That's what they keep saying. I mean, that's why we're getting shots randomly, you know.
Shot.
Shh, don't say it too loud. Scottsdale might erupt. But that is all of our
actual content for you.
I told you it was heavy. I cannot.
We had a lot of stuff this week, and next week is going to be even more exciting because next week we actually we'll get to be on after the inauguration.
Yes, yeah, I can't wait for that. Republicans, let this be my closing note. I don't know if Republicans watch our show or not, but no, we're not going to hide the inauguration because that does not account for the accountability that should have been held to the people of the Republican Party, as well as those that barged into the Capitol to riot throughout. And it does not exclude the Trump administration at all, because the Trump administration has gotten away with so much and has been just floating by and letting people go to jail for them, letting people take the hit for them. It's about time that accountability be held to this party and to this president. if you want to call him that.
I don't know that I've ever referred to him as that. In 4 years, I don't think I've ever referred to him as that.
I hope that in the next 4 years, I'm not going to do the hopeful. I'm not. What I want is for us is what we started to do with Obama. We started to address things. We started to go through with things. We started to educate ourselves. That needs to continue. When Orange came in, he decided that, no, we're going to make America great again. And what he meant was, I'm going to make America white again. What I would like to see is more diversity. And so far, Joe Biden has provided some diversity, including LGBTQ people into his cabinet, including people of color into his cabinet, just all kinds of beautifulness, and people that are educated. They're not just hired because they're people of color. People that are educated.
Specialists in their field,
like they've been doing it for like 15 years and
had money and, you know,
not a Ben Carson kind of situation, which I don't have a clue of what he did.
Had no experience anywhere, anything, and it happens to be like a billionaire.
And I hope that our kids are not too damaged that when they say, I wish that I was president, that they don't start to regret that being the job of their choice. So, yes, we actually have an educator as the Secretary of Education. That will do wonders for all of us. I personally feel like this is like a repeat of the Obama administration where we had to clean up, but this is worse. This is way worse. The economy, don't expect it to be clean in 4 years. The racial inequalities and injustices, don't expect that clean in 4 years. But what I always say, and I feel like a mother on this show sometime, but it's our responsibility to be watching at ground level. You vote for the people at the ground level that you want to rise to the top. Do not, if you see an election book that says, oh, we're just voting for city council, think about it. City council, then mayor, then what? Governor, legislators, senators, congresspeople. Think about it. These people are career politicians. If your career politician in your area is not doing you good, you have to, I say it week after week, but this has taught us nothing but how the country has felt for forever, and it has been shown that white privilege is a thing. Getting food in jail, getting fair treatment is what I call it. When people of color have not gotten fair treatment in the past, is just it was
literally being sort of escorted and walked down, handheld, like literally holding the hands of terrorists as they escort them from the Capitol building, which they broke into,
and cops talking to them in calm demeanor and just get in this car, it'll be fine. To me, watching that as a black man, I just thought, okay. Okay. And there's going to be deep investigation over the year or two. And you may hear things over the next couple years, but just remember that the people that you vote for are the reason we are where we are. So,
absolutely.
With that being said, we don't have anything else to offer except for we will see you next week.
Thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting us. And keep an eye out. We'll share. Joan is going to have the auction going, I believe, next week for all the really badass jewelry that she's going to be.
That you guys are all hyped up about. I was like, okay, go ahead and post.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding. I was like, okay, I gotta turn this off. Really.
Yeah.
But I am so happy that you guys are supporting us. Shout out to Joan for supporting us this way. I never would have imagined this at all. If you want to do something for us, I'm okay with it. Let's talk about it. Don't just go do it because I want to make sure it's
right.
I want to make sure you're okay with the terms of service and we don't get all taken off of Facebook. But that's all. But keep an eye out for our Facebook, all of our social media, and we'll let you know when Joan starts her auction.
Yep.
Good night.
Promotional consideration for Let's Have a Fefe provided by Wigs of a Kind, The Burly Barber, Bone and Basil, as well as our patrons at Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Let's Have a Fefe to become a Fefe patron. Virtual tips accepted at paypal.me/Let's Have a Fefe. Subscribe. You can listen on your favorite podcatcher. See you next week for your Wednesday night conversation. This has been Let's Have a Fefe.